Greetings everyone, and I hope you're all happy and healthy out there. And welcome back to the channel for another unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be having a look at the Fishbones take on V, as portrayed by Hugo Weaving in the 2005 James McTeigue directed movie V For Vendetta. The review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then it will be down onto the table for a look at all the accessories. Then it will be out with the masked vigilante himself for a close-up look, and then we'll be wrapping the whole thing up with the usual showcase at the end. But before we dive into the box, some shout-outs. Firstly, a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed to and supported the channel. The response we've had has been absolutely amazing in the short time we've been around. And to those of you new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content we've got coming up. There is a lot of it, some of which we will list as we always do before we go over to the showcase at the end. Fair to note at this point as well, when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we'll be having a special episode and we'll be having a 6 scale figure giveaway. So stay tuned for that. And I would also like to say a massive thank you to William Wang over at One Man's Hobby for sourcing me this figure. There'll be a link to his website in the description below, as always. So a bit of background. V For Vendetta was released back in 2005 and was the directorial debut of James McTeigue, with a screenplay by the Wachowskis, the duo behind The Matrix, and starred Hugo Weaving as the masked freedom fighter in a dystopian fascist-controlled Britain. All based on the V For Vendetta graphic novel by Alan Moore. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you seek it out. It is just as relevant in Britain's current economic and political climate as it was back in 2005. Interesting fact here too, the Guy Fawkes mask worn throughout the movie by Hugo Weaving was adopted worldwide by anti-tyranny and anarchist movements of all shapes and sizes. So does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? But before this becomes a party political broadcast on behalf of the V Party, let's have a look at this box. It's a very straightforward box, very simple. This is only my second Fishbones figure, so it's pretty much in keeping with what I had with the previous figure. It's a slipcover design. We'll stop it from spinning and have a quick look. What you've got here is very, very straightforward. The slipcover itself is this sort of deep red. Across the top there, you've got 1/6 scale collectible action figure. The Fishbones logo in the bottom there. In the centre is the V sign itself, the V For Vendetta sign, and then there's a sort of silhouetted outline of V with the famous Guy Fawkes mask on. Bring it round to this side, very straightforward. Yeah, Fishbones logo again, and once again that silhouetted outline of V. I think it's pretty much the same thing going on the other side. Oh, ever so slightly different. Fishbones logo at the bottom. You've got the mask there, the V symbol there. We'll bring it round, have a look at the back. Once again, very, very straightforward. V symbol, Fishbones logo, and your warnings there as well. Don't piss this figure off, or it might blow up the Houses of Parliament on bonfire night. Not an awful lot going on the top, I believe, or on the bottom. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that this box is sealed. It literally has just come through the door and gone straight in front of the camera. So without further ado, let's crack those seals and dive down onto the table and have a look at all the accessories that come with your vigilante figure. Okay, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your V For Vendetta figure. And let's take a look at them. But before we dive into them, just it's fair to point out at this stage that I believe that this is the reissue of a Fishbones figure that was released possibly a year ago. It isn't a 2.0 version, it is simply a re-release a year down the line. But yeah, let's dive into the accessories. Let's have a look at the hands. We'll start with the hands as we always do, you know, me and my hands. Now, there are a pair of gloved hands already on the figure itself. Those, I believe, are the knife-holding hands. Then you also get these two hands as well. So there's 4 hands in total, 2 pairs. Once again, both gloved. These are a little bit more open palm. We'll take a quick look at them. The sculpt here looks pretty nice. The glove size and the shape and proportions look on point to me. Perhaps maybe slightly too glossy. I'd have to revisit the film. Something I didn't pay that much attention to. I have seen the film on several occasions, but yeah, the sculpt here is pretty good. You've got some detailing on the palms there. There's some crease work. There's some detailing on the back of the gloves themselves. They're made of a soft plastic. There's detailing on this wrist section here, with what looks like an attempt to sculpt in a 6 scale zip. But overall, yeah, very nice. The plastic itself is a medium, so there's some flexibility in giving there. I don't know whether the camera will pick this up under this light, but they're pegged in, so they peg straight onto the wrists themselves. But yeah, overall, pretty good. And we've got to remember we're working to a price point here. This isn't a high-end price point. We're not talking Hot Toys. We're not talking in art here. It's built to a budget, but yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job there. So yeah, and you get 2 of those hands. So we'll put those to one side. What else do you get with your figure? Let's take a look at this apron and this tea towel. Comes complete with apron and tea towel, and this is pretty much what it says on the tin. It's just a straight piece of checkered red material, which comes from the sequence in the movie where V cooks breakfast for Evie. And yeah, very, very straightforward. It's a nice, what feels like a cotton material, and it's got this red print on it to replicate that tea towel look. So yeah, if you're wanting to go for that particular sequence in your collection, in your display, the options there. Not something I'll be going with, I don't think, but yeah. And to go along with the tea towel, you get the pinny that he was wearing, the pinafore, and yeah, quite nice this is too. Once again, it feels like a cotton material. The screen accuracy here is perhaps not 100%. These flowers are way too big. The flowers on this particular item were a lot smaller in the film. Also, some of the detailing here isn't on point. There were some red stripes down the front here, and as I say, the flowers were a lot smaller, and there were a lot more of them. But as I say, we've got to remember we're working to a price point here. The stitch working is nice. The material is of a pretty decent quality. You've got the ties for around the back, the hoop for over the neck, and you've got these ruffles on the top section here as well. So yeah, pretty well made, stitch work good, material of a decent quality, and as with the tea towel, if you're wanting to replicate that cookery scene in the movie, then that's an option that you've got there. So yeah, we'll put those to one side. And what else do you get? Let's take a look at this rose. Now, once again, Fishbones have gone metal here. I'm not quite sure why they've done this. We recently reviewed the Michael Corleone figure from Fishbones, and they used an awful lot of metal in the accessories on this one. I'm not quite sure why they've gone for metal with this rose, but it is what it is. It would have probably been easier to do it in plastic and easier for the hands to hold, but yeah, it is what it appears to be. It's a 6-scale sculpted rose. The detailing's okay on here. You've got some detailing on the leaves. The paint applications are pretty nominal. That head looks a bit loose to me, so I'm not going to fiddle with that. In fact, it looks very loose. Yeah, paint applications are not bad. It's supposed to represent the Scarlett Carson rose, which was given to the 2 characters at the beginning, passed between the 2 characters at the beginning of the film, and is cultivated by V himself, and it's an illegal rose apparently, but a nerdy fact here, Scarlett Carsons aren't actually red, they're pink, and the rose that they used in the film to replicate the Scarlett Carson was a Grand Prix rose, which is bright red. Yeah, I need to get out more, but yeah, so there you have it. That's the rose. Yeah, pretty decent, so put that to one side. Let's take a look at this, at the clothing, the rest of the clothing. So, of course, you've got the hat, and pretty important this hat is too. It's sort of quite symbolic to the look of V himself. But yeah, it's this flat, broad-rimmed hat with relatively square top. The material here that we're looking at is, how can I describe this? It's something like that compressed felt. Or it feels like felt that's been stuck to possibly plastic or card. But yeah, it's got some rigidity to it, but there is some play in there. The shape looks screen accurate to me. They've gone for a material band around the top that looks like it's been glued on. So yeah, shape, style, and overall just very, very screen accurate. So yeah, that's the hat. Also comes with a cape. Now, pretty basic, this cape. We've got to remember we're working to a price point here. It looks to me like this cape actually attaches around the neck. I think I'm assuming you just take off the head sculpt and slot this on. But yeah, there's no lining to this. It's just a straightforward piece of what feels like it's got a sort of felt feel to it. There's some texture on the back there, but it just looks like it's been cut straight out of a piece of material and then had some stitch work at the top there, or maybe glue. I think that's possibly glued. Yeah, it is. It's glued there, so I would advise caution with that. But yeah, there's no wires in this or anything like that. But it is what it is. The material feels heavy. It feels nice. It's a dust magnet. It's already picking up hairs and bits and pieces. But yeah, and it falls quite well. So we'll see how that looks when we get the figure out. But yeah, that's the cape. And finally, you get his knife and knife belt. We'll take a look at the belt first. Now, this looks to me and feels like it's pleather. I've done the sniff test and I'm I bet the farm on this being pleather. And also, as I mentioned before, we're working to a price point here, so we'd expect it to be pleather. So yeah, it's a straightforward pleather belt. You have this buckle at the end here, which simply slots through there. And then at on either side of this belt, you've got these plastic hoops, sort of almost hexagonal plastic sections, which look like they've just been pushed straight through the pleather itself. I'm not so sure how secure those are. I'm not going to attempt to remove them. Maybe there's been some glue attached as well to double secure them. But yeah, so you've got these plastic. They're painted grey or a silver colour, and obviously designed to hold the knives across the waist area. But yeah, you've got 6 on either side to hold 3 knives. We'll see how that works when we take a look at the knives themselves. So yeah, onto the knives. Now this is the one time that it makes sense for fish bones to use metal. It's nice to see that all these daggers are actually sculpted metal, and very nicely done they are too. Not an awful lot of detailing on them, but these look screen accurate to me. I'll try and get this into as close as I can into camera so you can see this. But yeah, they look screen accurate. There's some silver paintwork on the bladed area and on these prongs on either side. The handle has got some black paintwork on there and what looks like a little bit of silver dry brushing to pick out the details, and then obviously the silver pommel at the end. But yeah, very well done. Props to Fishbone on this one for using metal in this area. The only thing that did concern me actually when I took them out of the box was, as probably mentioned before, is how these hoops that have been put through the pleather belt would support these once you've got them in. But yeah, I believe they're designed to slide through like that. And there's also the issue here of once you've got them in, they're going to have to overlap, which might cause some difficulties. But yeah, we'll come to that when we bring the figure out. But yeah, because they do seem exceptionally close together. As you can see, the pommel then is actually resting on the hoop next to it, rather than sliding in. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But we'll get to that when we get the figure out. So that's all the accessories, and pretty good they are too. So far, I am pretty impressed. Viewers to my channel will know. We did review, as I mentioned before, the Michael Corleone figure from Fishbones, and that was a little bit of a train wreck. But this looks a little bit more promising. So without further ado, we shall bring out V himself, get him onto the turntable. Obviously, there's no stand with this figure. It's sort of it seems to be standard with Fishbones not to provide a stand. But yeah, we'll get him out of the box, onto the turntable, maybe onto a generic stand, and have a close-up look at V himself. Okay, so here he is. It's V himself, straight out of the box, straight onto a stand, straight onto the turntable. And first impressions, pretty good, I have to say. The proportions look okay. They look pretty spot on. Maybe that head looks slightly oversized, but that may be down to putting the cape on, putting the hat on, and so on. And we'll get to that. But the outfit looks on point and screen accurate. The head sculpt looks pretty good. That mask, let's be honest, I don't think is something that you could screw up, but you never know. But overall, yeah, pretty positive first impressions of this figure. And of course, the rooted hair as well. And to see a figure at this price point with rooted hair is very good indeed. But yeah, we'll do what we always do. We'll have a close-up look at him. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. First of all, let's stop him from spinning and get him closer into shot. Bring him round and hopefully not cut his head off. We'll take him off the stand for a close-up look and take a look at these boots first. Now, what we're looking at here is at the bottom here, look, it feels like it's completely sculpted plastic, and then what's happened is, or what they've done is they've actually attached pleather to the bottom of this sculpted plastic boot. Now, these boots are all pleather all the way up to the top. I will be treating these with Aerospace 303 after this review. As we all know, with pleather, it has a shelf life, and quite a short one if it's not treated accordingly. But yeah, there's, as I say, no split cut boot design here, so what I would avoid any dynamic poses that put any stress on that ankle joint. As you can see there, it feels like it's simply pegged straight in to the foot, to the leg itself. So yeah. Perhaps avoiding any kind of strenuous wrist ankle posing with this figure might be a good idea. But yeah, the boots looks pretty screen accurate. There's no real weathering on here. Might benefit from a little bit of that, but on the whole, they look pretty screen accurate and are pretty well done. Yeah, the stitch work on the pleather is pretty good on the back there. The 6 scale work there is good. Let's take a look at this, the actual outfit itself. Now, this outfit is made of, now, I'm not going to say this is a cotton material. It could be a brushed cotton. It feels more like a man-made fibre, but it's got a very, very, very fine, tight weave there, which does look screen accurate to me. The colours are on point. When I say colours, it's black. You can't really go wrong with black, but it's got a slight shine to it, which once again feels screen accurate to me. It's not ridiculously shiny, it's just a sheen to it, as this light is probably picking up. The 6 scale stitch work on the seams is very good. We'll take a look at the back here, underneath the jacket. Now, yeah, pants look very, very well stitched, and a decent material as well, and they fall well too. Yeah, so that's the trousers and the pants. Let's move up to this jacket. The eagle-eyed amongst you will probably notice that the part of the jacket at the bottom here is actually standing up. It's not wired. I think this is just the way it was sat in the box when it arrived, but this section was over to one side, so I think maybe I might need to press this. But once again, the jacket looks screen accurate. It's stitched down the edges here and across the waist, and that 6 scale stitching is really nice. There's a 6 scale zip down the front here. The proportions look good, and once again this material just looks very accurate to me and hangs really, really well. The body on this figure, underneath the figure, once again I think this reflects the price point, and 6 scale collectors will know what I mean. It's not the best body in the world. You can feel that it's not a high-end body, but I mean, once again, we're working to a price point. Let's just check the articulation here. I don't think there's a double bend in these knees. I'm not going to push these joints too much, simply because of these boots. But yeah, it's quite stiff. That knee joint there. There's movement there. Not an awful lot going on at the top of the legs there. Very little at all. Actually, it feels incredibly rigid. It doesn't feel like there's any movement. There's no lateral movement in those legs at the waist at all. Let's see if there's any movement in the waist area, above that waist area. Yeah, there's movement in the chest. There's a little bit of give in the waist. So there's 3 joints there, two joints rather, but it doesn't feel like there's any give at all in these legs. It may be just because it's brand new and out the box, but I'm not going to push this because last time I tried to push a fishbone's leg, shall we say, it broke on me. So I'm going to exercise some caution here. But overall, yeah, the joints work. It's there. Is there a butterfly? Oh, there's a butterfly joint at the shoulder, which is good to see. So yeah, perhaps not the best body in the world, but by no means the worst. And at this price point, pretty good going. So yeah, that jacket's really nice. I was concerned a little bit about the height of this collar. The stitch work is pretty good on this collar, but I think that is relatively screen accurate. Perhaps could be just a little bit lower, but I think yeah, maybe tucking it under the mask benefits. But we'll see how it looks when we put the cape on the figure. And now I can't get that out. Now it's gone underneath. But yeah, overall the material is nice. The screen accuracy is there. The stitch work is good. It's got this flap at the back, which is screen accurate. These are those knife gripping hands that we mentioned in the accessories section. So let's take a look at this head sculpt. Now, as I said before, difficult to screw up this head sculpt because it's simply getting this mask right. And it looks to me like Fishbones have done a pretty good job here. The colours are right. I mean, it's simply black, white, and then this hue of pink around the cheek areas and the lip areas. Which they've nailed on completely. That's really good. Yeah, the proportions on that mask, the colours on the mask, all look spot on to me. Maybe the one thing that I have noticed is above the eyebrows on the mask used in the film, there was a more pronounced indentation above the eyebrows, which doesn't seem to be there. But that's probably just me nitpicking. Overall, that looks pretty accurate to me. And then onto the hair. Now, as I mentioned, you know, rooted hair on a figure at this price point is good to see. The colour is right. The style is absolutely spot on. I would imagine this hair could become quite flyaway, as a lot of rooted hair can. So maybe might need a bit of product to keep it down. But straight out of the box, it's looking pretty accurate. And actually, it, you know, just through touch of finger and the oils that you have on your fingers, it looks like that's actually holding it quite flat as well. So yeah, pretty good. Let's get him back on the stand and start him rotating again and have some final impressions on this guy. Actually, now looking at that hair, now I've futzed it a bit just with my fingers. That's improved the straight out of the box, because I mean it's going to come out of the box with static and stuff like that. But yeah, that flyaway element has now gone out that hair. So yeah, a final verdict on this. Well, screen accuracy is there. The materials are good quality. The body is what's to be expected at this price point. Head sculpt is really well done. The hair is well done. Overall, I'm very, very impressed. But before I give a final score and a final verdict, I think what we should do is put everything together. Put the cape on, put the hat on, put the belt on and the knives on, and see how that works overall. So without further ado, let's cut to the fully kitted out version. Okay, so here he is, V himself, fully kitted out. We have added the cape, we've added the knife belt and the knives themselves, we've added the hat, and yeah, final thoughts and impressions. A few things came out of actually putting it all together like this. First of all, I thought that we were going to have some issues with that hat, and I think it's been a bit of a compromise for Fishbones on this one, with the materials they've used and keeping the proportions right because of the rooted hair. And we'll stop him from spinning so you can see this this in proper detail. There is some difficulties with getting this hat on and getting it into the right position because of the rooted hair and the materials they've used in the hat. It does want to pop off. So some futzing required there to get that hat to fit right. But I mean, they could have made the hat slightly larger to prevent this from happening, but what that would have done would have been thrown out the proportions. So yeah, just a little bit of futzing there to get it to sit right is the order of the day. But overall, I think the proportions look absolutely spot on for the head sculpt and the hat itself. This cape, although exceptionally simplistic, or just being one piece of unwired material, falls really, really well and looks good. The knife belt is very simple to attach. It's just through this plastic buckle here, which is screen accurate, loops over and straight in. My fears were allayed regarding the belt because the knives do overlap and overlap very well, and they don't put too much pressure on this pleather belt or the hoops themselves. So yeah, overall, this is a real winner for me. I'm very pleasantly surprised. As I've mentioned twice already in this review, my previous outing with Fishbones wasn't, shall we say, an entirely successful one. But in my opinion, they've redeemed themselves here. I think based on the price point and what I'm seeing in front of me, this is a solid 8, 8.5, maybe even a 9. That's taking into consideration the price point here. I think what Fishbones have given us actually is a very accurate representation of V for Vendetta from the film itself. The materials they've used are really good. The metal knives, the screen accuracy of the outfit, the head sculpt. Yes, it's a very simple one. So dropping the ball there would have been really difficult for anybody to do, I think. We're not looking at having to go into any particular detail with that head sculpt. It's a human head sculpt, and that can cause all these kind of issues of likeness and so on. But they're simply doing the mask, and it's done very, very well. So head sculpt, excellent. The fact they've included rooted hair, really, really good. Outfit, absolutely on point. I was going to say the colours are very accurate, but it's it's a very simplistic outfit. It's black, so yeah. But overall, yeah, I'm going 8.5, maybe even a 9 on this one. I'm very impressed, bearing in mind the price point. So yeah, there you have it. That is V for Vendetta, and a very good piece it is too, in my opinion. So I suppose all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Oh, what's coming up? We didn't mention what's coming up on the channel. That's always a good idea. In the 6 scale world, we have HH model Achilles. That's on its way. We've got Hot Toys Catwoman, the 2.0 version. That's coming in soon. Blitzway Astro Boy, the 2.0 version of that. I'm looking forward to that. In the 1/12 scale world, we will be venturing into Evil Dead, the anniversary pack, It, the Ultimate Edition, and some T2 stuff, some Predator stuff as well. In the quarter scale statue world, we have got Blitzway and Prime 1 Studios, Paul Atreides from June on its way, and also in the quarter scale statue world, something very, very special is landing shortly. I am not going to give it away. Hopefully the video review for that will be up at the weekend, but all I will say is it's a custom one-off bespoke quarter scale statue, and I'll leave it with one word. I'll just say Prometheus, and leave everybody hanging on that one. But yeah, so I suppose all it remains for me to say is I hope this review has been useful for you. From me, from V, take care of yourselves. Happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.